The East-West high school football rivalry really fueled football, the passion fans had for football in this city. Turned it into maybe more of a football town than a baseball town, even though the amateur baseball team was still very popular and drew well, maybe just as well as the Packers in those very early years. But I think there were enough fans. There weren't a lot of fans. The Packers were in the same boat as all the cities that folded, Canton, Rock Island, Hammond, Indiana. There weren't enough people here, that they didn't have enough fans to sell enough tickets to their home games, and that's why they were constantly in trouble. Those teams were playing maybe anywhere from 5 to 100, 200 people in open fields. The genesis for football in Green Bay was the East-West high school rivalry. It was drawing 5,000 fans by the time Curly was a senior, and the first Packers team, 17 of the 25 players played at either East or West, and another went to school at East.
But was there organized football even before Curly came back from Notre Dame and tried
well,
to get this thing going?
East and West started playing in the late 1890s, and but there are also town teams, and what's really interesting is the first organized football game in Green Bay, which was essentially a game between East and West high school students, was played in 1895. And football was being played in other cities around here prior to that, even as early as 1890 in some cities in Wisconsin. It just baffles me that it took so long for the game to catch on here. I just saw something where Kewanee might have had a game in 1892. That had been 3 years before Green Bay.
Really?
Yeah. And another big thing that helped, beside the East-West game obviously fueled passion, but when George Whitney Calhoun, whose great-grandfather was Daniel Whitney, the father of the city, came back to Green Bay from Buffalo in 1916, he became a real sports promoter. And he started promoting these games, and then he moved to the Press-Gazette shortly after. He worked at the Green Bay Review, then moved to the Press-Gazette shortly thereafter. And he started promoting games. Back in that time, there were no high school football playoffs, but teams would claim that they were the state champions. And Calhoun got Watertown and Marinette to come here to play for a so-called state championship. The Press-Gazette promoted that game like no other, even more so than the East-West game, which for many years got better coverage than any Packer game. And Calhoun hyped that game as the biggest football game ever played in Green Bay at that time. So he helped turn Green Bay into a football hotbed.